The headliners are back and we're fresh off of our combine visit. But there's still tons of questions that need to be answered about all of the prospects. So after my visit to Indy, seeing these guys up close and listening to their interviews, I've changed a few things. Let's jump into my top 10 prospects at every offensive position right now. Let's kick it off at the quarterback position, and the top 4 quarterbacks for me have not changed. However, the order of those quarterbacks have changed slightly. CJ Stroud stays as my number 1, but Anthony Richardson, who, if you've been a fan of this channel and you've watched my video breakdowns, you knew that 2 months ago I was talking about this guy as a potential top 10 pick, and his huge combine performance only cemented that. He makes a jump up to my quarterback 2, while Bryce Young makes a little bit of a drop back to my quarterback 3, and that's no knock on Bryce Young. I think he is a fantastic NFL quarterback. I really do. I'm not worried about the height or the weight, but I think there are some things that might limit his upside, and while he might be good, Anthony Richardson has a chance to be great. Will Levis, I'm still not impressed with. The tools are there, but he has got to get with somebody to work on his footwork and using that lower half with his throw. If you watched my video breakdown on Will Levis and then you watched the combine, all of my concerns in that video were showcased while he was in Indy. Quarterbacks 5 through 10 really honestly are going to be backup quarterbacks at the NFL level that might be able to come in and help out if there's injuries or anything else were to happen, or maybe kind of a gap year quarterback. These guys, in my opinion, aren't really going to be NFL starters. Hendon Hooker, potentially, but the dude, we don't know yet what he's going to look like or how he's really going to bounce back from that terrific injury last year. That we need to keep an eye on. Running back wise, we've got a 1A, we've got a 1B, we've got some guys that in the right situation can be good, and then we've got a lot of backups. I don't need to say anything else about Bijan Robinson. He's number 1. Y'all know how good he is. Jahmyr Gibbs out of Alabama. One thing about Gibbs that I saw kind of throughout this combine experience, I don't know if he's going to be a true 3-down back, but I definitely could see him being a receiving threat that also comes in and, gives somebody else a split. He is a guy that would work best in a 2-back system, maybe like a Tony Pollard with a Zeke Elliott. Zach Charbonnet, Chase Brown, and Tyjae Spears, all 3 of these guys in the correct situation could end up being good NFL running backs, but they're not guys that will probably be explosive type players that are going to put up huge numbers for years to come. They're guys that are going to get the job done for their team. Everyone else in the list is really going to end up being running backs that are going to be on team as role type of players or backups. Probably not a whole lot of starting potential once you get outside the top 5. One thing that I really learned about this offensive class while in Indy is that the offensive tackles are a lot deeper than I originally anticipated. Paris Johnson, Broderick Jones, and DeJuan Jones are still the cream of the crop when it comes to this class. But guys like Freeland, Harrison, and Wright, they have really taken a step up in terms of their evaluation for the draft. And these are all now guys that have into the first round, beginning of the second round draft potential. One of my biggest fallers is number 7, Peter Skoronski from Northwestern. I still like him, but he's not really going to be as big as I would need an offensive tackle to be. That is why I think when he's drafted, he's potentially moved to an offensive guard position instead. That's why I have him down at number 7, because honestly, his NFL career is probably going to be inside and not outside. For the interior offensive lineman, Joe Tippmann out of Wisconsin, he's going to be one of the top center prospects this year, and Osiris Torrance will lead the way. Both of these guys have some crazy athletic ability, and their ability to pull and help in the run game and really fit into their assignment of the offense is what sets them apart. John Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota, he takes a little bit of a fall for me, didn't quite test as well as I would have liked him to. I really thought that this was like a can't miss type of first round prospect, but he's looking a little bit more like a good prospect that falls kind of in the second round. One name to mention, Andrew Voorhees. Unfortunately, it looks like he has suffered a torn ACL, and he draft-wise, may not end up going into a little bit of the later rounds. Someone will still take a shot at him, and I'm gonna leave him right here in the rankings, but unfortunately, it's gonna be a while before we see him in action. The position that took the biggest hit at the combine was the wide receivers. Jackson Smith-Njigba did not run the 40, but I don't care. He's still the best wide receiver in this draft, and I don't care really what anyone else says. I'll debate it all day long. Quentin Johnston, he looked good. Came in just a little bit shorter than I think what we anticipated, but we saw those big hops and that big playability on the field. I still like his potential. I've got him in number 2. But then when you look at the rest of this draft class, this was a class that's a little bit on the smaller side, so we expected them to be faster. Newsflash, they weren't. But because of that, I think we lose some value, and now we're going to see wide receivers trend more into the 2nd and 3rd round. Now, there are some guys that could still be good. Jordan Addison, he might not be as fast or as big as that we would like, but he is a really good route runner. Zay Flowers on the outside is a guy that can stretch the field. Jalen Hyatt wasn't as fast as I would have liked to have seen him, but he still showed some of that burst and acceleration that could make him an outside threat. Marvin Mims had a really good combine as well coming out of Oklahoma. He is a guy that has established himself as one of the top options in this draft. But unfortunately for a lot of these guys, they didn't just show the athleticism and the speed that we would have liked. This tight end class is super deep. If you're a team that needs a tight end, this is going to be the year to get them. And my new number 1 tight end is Darnell Washington. In my last mock draft, I actually had him going in the 1st round, and I thought I was going to get a lot of crap for it. And I didn't. So maybe some people already knew kind of what I was seeing, that this guy is a 1st round talent. Well, his absolutely explosive combine, that set that in stone. Michael Mayer didn't test as well as I would have liked him to. Some of that athleticism wasn't there that I would have liked to see, but he is still a pass catcher, and he is still a guy that can block on the offensive line. He's number 2 for me now. Sam Laporta got a huge bump. He tested super well at the combine. Dalton Kincaid is still right there for me. He is a guy that's going to be really kind of exclusively a receiving threat in any offense that he goes to. Maybe not the best blocker that we would like to see. And then Zach Kuntz out of Old Dominion, he saw a nice little jump after the combine as well. We've got a lot of really talented players at this position this year. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, my top 10 draft prospects at every offensive position. Hit that like button for me. Leave a comment down below and let me know if there's a player whose value you maybe see a little bit higher or a little bit lower. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button down below. Stay safe and healthy, and I'll see y'all on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.